ngibone la Nkosi yami. Ngishawela ubhalo mina.
Changing and re-engineering sports on the continent and the world.
I think Jake White, we all know, he's shrewd, very good coach, winning a Rugby World Cup. But then when you talk about that favorite number 13, you got to look on your arm. How up for it are you in terms of the competition?
I'm the best player in my head, the best in the world, the best running onto the field, and I mean that's the mindset any athlete should possibly have.
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Why isn't Arthur's only part of the fray? Because looking at comparing him and Gavin Hunt, I think he did better than Gavin. He reached the semi-finals of MTN8. Yeah.
But from my understanding, it's called the DSTV Premiership Coach of the Season,
yes.
Meaning what they've done in the Premiership. So maybe that should answer your question. I don't know if anyone wants to add on anything that I've said. That is why you can be in finals of whatever, but
The marathon.
Gavin Hunt, Rulani Mukwena, Jose Riviero. Kevin, please shoot.
Rulani Mukwena.
Okay, explain no more.
Same here.
No contest. Makes sense.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW. Friday nights, always.
This is how we do it.
About our beloved legends. Pull up your chair. Let's chat legendary stuff. Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Will they survive or will they be relegated? That's the big question as we hop on to match day 30. Hey, the Premier Soccer League. The curtain comes down this weekend. Oh, looking forward to it. I don't know. Who's your money? Who's going to be relegated? Who's going to stay? Who's going to be position number 15? I don't know. What do you think Baromo Gallants will do?
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Well, it looks like their journey might have ended. They lost by 2-1 to the Tanzanian side, Young African. Let me chat to the Marawa Gallants coach, the man who's done and seen it all. Hey, Raymond Mdaka, yes, you lost, but congratulations. It was one of those that nobody had ever seen, ever foreseen, ever thought it would happen.
Very positive mental strength, I think, plays a most important role. It gives players confidence. It gives everybody confidence, irrespective of how much you can do.
But where were they getting this mental strength from, though, Raymond?
It's through sitting and talking and sharing and trying to convince each other mentally.
#MSW. #MSW. Marawa Sports Worldwide. This is 947. Music live. #MSW.
Yeah, we give you a unique mix right here on 947. Welcome to it. It's the Friday edition of Marawa Sports Worldwide, which means that our legend is back. It is part 2. Not only that, we are live on Rise FM, Vuma FM, Sowetan Live. Hey, how you doing? If you're watching us on YouTube, salute to you. Thank you for making it so popular. You can pose any question that you want also on the YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, Joburg 947. Hey, /. It's as simple as that. Be part of the conversation because this man is back for part 2. I mean, soft-spoken. You might think you're soft-spoken until he gets going, eh? Eloquently, intelligently, this noble legend. I mean, he dished out some pretty wise, eye-opening gems last Friday. And hey, we just decided, you decided, in fact, you were knocking on the door and saying, hey, you have not had enough of him. And we were never going to let him off without completing his story. And he had to come back for part 2. And we'll do our very best, our very, very best to squeeze in everything today. Otherwise, hey, you'll probably be, it'll be like days of our lives. It'll be like every afternoon. The what of the hourglass. And that's just the thing. I mean, an hour is hardly ever enough when speaking to these legends because there's so much. I mean, there's just pearls of wisdom that are dropped each and every time. Fani Madida, ever the gentleman, thank you so much indeed for honoring our second invitation for you to come through. I don't know. You got very few Bafana Bafana caps. Surprisingly, why?
Indeed, Robert, because I represented the country, Bafana Bafana, I think 17 times. So yeah, that's it. It depends, you know, on coaches at the time, or what kind of a player they wanted. But at least I did. I was part of it.
But 17 times.
I contributed the work. Yeah, of course.
Let me use today's lingo. Who mised you of caps? Who was that coach that should have given you more Bafana Bafana caps and didn't?
Ooh. You know, if I can mention names, otherwise it will become too personal.
No, don't worry. This is you telling your story. So personal or not, it doesn't matter.
You remember the person that was in charge of Bafana Bafana when I left? It was Clive Barker.
Yes.
So it was Clive Barker. So I think the likes of Sean Bartlett were doing well where they were. And at one stage, I remember he compared the Turkish league to First Division at the time. But sometimes if you haven't heard about countries like Turkey, how football is taken there, you can come into those judgments.
Like First Division?
Yeah.
But that's an insult.
I still remember clearly. That's what he said at the time. That it is better for a player that participates in Switzerland in second division. Those players will be far better than the players that are playing in Turkey.
And representing in Europe. I mean, a lot of the Turkish teams were featuring very, very prominently.
You know in English what they say about ignorance.
Bless.
Yeah, of course. It is for you to be wise all the time.
But did it hurt you though? Because I, for the longest time, never understood why somebody of your profile, your caliber, your ability, what Skrima Shabalala said last week, as you not being famous at home but being famous in Turkey, how you would only just get 17. I mean, take nothing away. 17 on anybody's, but, players like you who rolled us back from isolation should have and deserved a whole lot more than that. Do you ever reflect back and wonder whether it was maybe personal against you?
If I'm blunt, I would say the agents took over the national team at the time. You remember that Glenn Pinkin was the manager of Sean Bartlett. At the time, he handled Lucas Adebe and other players. And so there were really a lot of agents that were influencing the selection processes of South African soccer. I think that's why I had a less number of caps for the national team.
To somebody who's maybe just biting on a sandwich or having just gone through a drive-through, here's what you say, but they don't understand the context of what it means for you to say agents were the ones that were running who gets selected. How would they do that? Would they look at a Fani Madida and say, well, he's already playing in Turkey, so he's of no use to us. We can't sell him. We can't make money out of him. So let him stay there. Let him play in this so-called useless Turkey that is there, but globally seen differently. Just briefly explain what that means when agents grab a hold of a national team.
They will always try to promote their players in their stable. That's what happens. So the more the more representation they get in the national team, the more they are seen by the scouts, because it's like it's international football when we are representing the national team.
Correct.
So that's how some of these players, some of our players are scouted. So it was an unfortunate situation with me at the time. That's really what happened. And you remember that it was earlier days when the agents were like a hottest thing in town.
Yeah.
In football terms. So yeah, that's what happened. That's the truth.
But there was also a prerequisite, if I remember correctly. So you needed to play X number of games for your national team for you to then be accepted to play for certain clubs in Europe. So if you didn't meet that quota, then you would not be able to sell that player because it did not meet the minimum requirement for you to then be exported to another team in Europe.
I think during those days it was not as stringent as now.
Correct.
You know, so they managed to get away with murder at the time. It won't happen now, but it was a situation where Fani Madida was a loser because there were quite a number of players that were playing in that position where I was playing that were promoted during that era. But the problem started with ignorance, not knowing the Turkish league.
But not knowing the Turkish league means not knowing Fani, not knowing Debocho, not knowing Steve Champela, not knowing a whole myriad of players, including Maimane Piri. Because Turkey became a destination for a lot of these South African players, but very prominently so. Now, if the head coach doesn't know, surely there's a management team, there's a technical team who should make it their duty to know a league as opposed to basing it on an opinion which is not correct.
You remember that later years, Sheikhs Mashaba, Bra Sheikhs, also had a concern regarding the influence of Asians in selection of players for Bafana Bafana. So it started back then, and it didn't end at the time. Instead of ending, it was like a wildfire, because then we were exposed into the international arena of football.
You were there though, 1992.
Yes.
When we rolled out the red carpet for Cameroon, when we were in Durban.
Yes.
You were in that tunnel where there was Omambik.
Yes.
What. They were all there. We had been admiring them. Did you believe? Talk to me through that, because that would have been starry-eyed Fani Madida.
In fact, Rob, I was with the Ace Kuse, working with the Ace Kuse in the tunnel at the time.
Yeah.
And I was telling him, hey, Ace, do you see the stats of these guys, the defenders? Because they had massive stats. And I was like, if I hold the ball and it's behind me, I will be dead. I was so scared, definitely scared. For the first time in football, in my football career, I was scared that this defender is going to kick me so hard. And those guys were giants. They were not just short players. Their structure, physique was
muscular.
Yeah.
Big frames.
Yeah.
Not a fridge. Yeah.
I don't know whether my fridge worked dial or but it's like the LG.
Excuse us, boss. Excuse us. But I mean, just talking about that, because there was a stage, and I wanted to ask you last week. Let's bring it in now. There was a trip to Australia, Bafana Bafana, where they had to go on tour. But then you opted to play for your Turkish club and not travel with Bafana Bafana. I don't know if that was captured correctly, but maybe talk me through that, because there was mixed views and opinions about, you see, he doesn't want to show up for his national team, he's getting a call-up, but he's choosing to stay with this club.
No, there was never nothing. There wasn't something like that.
Yeah.
In fact, they wrote a letter. I had that letter. I kept it in my files for the longest of years.
Yeah.
It was never signed. That letter was never sent to my team. So
call-up letter.
Yes, one of the guys at SAFA gave me that letter. That what happened to your call-up? Because there's the letter, but it was not signed, and he gave it to me. That's why I did not accompany the team.
So things were not done professionally?
No, not at all.
Because I remember a certain story of a certain so-called call-up letter that went to a Mr. But they mentioned the club's name instead of the player's name. But let's park that for all right, so it's good that you've cleared that because that very same year, I think it was June 1994, then Besiktas won both the league and the cup.
Definitely with the Milne.
Yes,
with Milne, the British coach.
That would have been one of the standout moments for you.
Indeed, but representing my country, and you've touched a very personal and touchy topic, should I say, about the national team. Why do I have less number of caps for the national team? Yeah, the priority for me was definitely to make a mark for South African players, not just for Fani Madida in Turkey, so that we become marketable as a country, the players that were playing at the time. That's why you remember the likes of Tebogo Mloe, you've mentioned them, Lebogang, Alfred Piri, Shoes, Helman Mkelele, all of them, they in later years, they went to Turkey, they applied their trade there. They played for big teams, not just the small teams. And then in the Premier League, by the way.
No, massive. Because, I mean, you moved there, you went to, was it Busheshpo? There was a top Ugandan striker there that you teamed up with. I mean, a man who was scoring goals for fun. Majid Musis.
Yes.
You remember him?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
A guy with a big calf.
Big calves.
Big calf.
All right, for big calves and more. Don't go anywhere.
Marawa Sports Worldwide Live.
In 3, 2, 1.
On 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live. #MSW.
Digital helps you make international payments. Human brings you global specialists who support your complex exchange requests. Get a dedicated relationship banker, access to global wealth specialists, and international travel and lifestyle perks. Enjoy the complete private banking experience with private clients from Nedbank. Digital when you want it, human when you need it. Search Nedbank Private Clients online. See money differently. Nedbank. We are a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
947
Music.
Life.
Choosing your dream Volkswagen can be difficult, which is why we've made it easy to get a Polo Vivo Hatch 1.4 Trendline from 3,775 Rand at 0% deposit over 48 months. We've even made the T's and C's easy on the ears. Thanks to Matthew.
The Easy Finance. Guaranteed future value is the minimum future value of your vehicle as determined by Volkswagen Financial Services South Africa Pty Limited. This offer is calculated over 48 months and 80,000 kilometers total contract limit. Offer is subject to credit approval from Volkswagen Financial Services South Africa Pty Limited, an authorized FSP and registered CP. Offer valid until 31 May 2023 or while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Thank you, Matthew.
All right.
It's a carnival celebration of arts and crafts at P&A from 18 to 31 May. We have the widest variety of arts and crafts products for the crafters, the hobbyists, and even the professional artists. Discover a new talent or expand your creativity with up to 15% discount on selected arts and crafts products. Available at your local P&A store. P&A, color your world. T's and C's apply.
Get to Dial-A-Bed today for a massive 20% off all Sealy mattresses. Like the queen-size Sealy Turnberry Pillow Top mattress, now only $6,299. Or the queen-size Sealy Skyline Extra Firm mattress, reduced to $10,399. Bases available as optional extras. Plus, enjoy immediate delivery on our best sellers. Dial-A-Bed. Sleep for life.
947
Deal or No Deal is more than just a game show that everyone talks about. It's a game show that transforms the lives of everyday South Africans. To date, we celebrate more than 1 million rand worth of cash prizes that Deal or No Deal has helped to change lives. You too could win up to 250,000 rand in cash with me, Katlego. Simply SMS the word PLAY to 43066. Standard SMS rates apply. Catch Deal or No Deal on SABC1 at 7:30 p.m. and on SABC3 at 5:30 p.m. every weekday. Deal or No Deal is sponsored by Lotto Star.
Lotto Star is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18s. National Responsible Gambling Program. 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Titiza. When did you know you can kick this ball, man?
Before MSW was born.
So you're an old man then?
A very old man.
So you're an old man now, Titiza. Do you even know how old you are?
They are saying I'm 15.
I think you probably turned 50 about 15 years ago. And now is another 50 that you have to turn. And the name Ufani wasn't short for anything. You were just Ufani, Fani.
Exactly.
Not Ufanuel or anything like
or
that.
Or Bafana.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not saying it's a funny name, but why funny?
#NSW.
You remember all of those things? Fanuel.
Friday nights, always.
This is how we do it.
About our beloved legends. Pull up your chair. Let's chat legendary stuff. Marawa Sports Worldwide.
And Rob and the legend Fani Madida. Fani Madida, on this platform last week you said very few PSL teams profile players, and this week we saw Kaizer Chiefs promote a 17-year-old Vicky Makawana into the first team after a stellar performance at the AFCON Under-17 tournament. And my question to you is that do you think a tournament performance or player development pathway should inform the promotion of the player? And if the latter was used, for me, I think the boy should have been promoted long before the tournament started, just like Mabena, and I just want to get your views around that. And if you were given the opportunity to profile Caleb, would you have signed him as a player for Kaizer Chiefs? Thank you so much,
Tebogo, thank you so much. Hey, say no more. Please answer.
Wow, Debza.
Hey, he's piling them on.
Wow. Profiling is very important. It plays a major role now in terms of recruiting players for your team. Yeah, to be precise and to be blunt, I wouldn't have recruited and signed Caleb. No, not at all. Because he is not the kind of a player that can play for such a big team like Kaizer Chiefs.
Why though? Give me a reason.
The chemistry.
Yeah.
You know, it goes with the chemistry. The chemistry is not there between him and his teammates, and on top of that, he still has to learn a lot of things regarding the technical and know-how of the game. When we say technical, we're talking about your movement of the ball, your handling of the ball, technique, passing, and understanding your teammate and understanding your partner in your group dynamics and to the team dynamics. You know, how do you then gel to the team, because they are always they are team tactics, they are group tactics. You need to know. It's like if I'm playing with you, Robert, I should close my eyes and know that if I pass the ball on my left hand side, Robert will be there running.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have that awareness.
Maybe this big English word, telepathic, like you and Shane.
Exactly.
And you didn't have to work, you didn't have to rehearse. I mean, you were not like a cast of Sarafina where you have to rehearse the whole time, but you had that understanding on the field as to where, when you do a blindsided move, when you're running off the ball, what can you expect? Where's the delivery? Is it going to be heavy to the left or heavy to the right, or or a lob over the head? I mean, those things are not spoken.
Definitely, it's not about theory. Those ones, you need to go out there and do them in practice.
Yeah.
But it started training. You have to train the players to do that. But I do not think that the Chiefs would have been a team to do that.
Yeah.
Chiefs is a team that needs success yesterday. So there is no room for error when it comes to profiling of players and player recruitment. They should be precise, knowing exactly what kind of a player they want.
But has it not been made easy? Because there was a stage, and I loved that stage, where they would say that if you were a player coming from outside of South Africa, foreign player coming into South Africa, you needed to prove that there was no local player who was better than you.
I agree with you 131%.
Yeah.
And that's why most of the time I'm never liked by some agents, because I'll give you a scenario.
Mm-hmm.
When I was an assistant coach at Swallows, you will get calls. That's what Dan was saying the other day. He was here. You'll get calls. They are trying to agents. They are trying to tell you that this player will fit the profile of your team, and you tell them, okay, why is he not playing in his national team, by the way? That's my standards. That's the standards that I've set for Swallows when I was at Swallows as a TD.
Yeah.
Said you don't take a foreigner that hasn't represented his national team. It is a waste. South Africans, in South Africa, there are an abundance of players, abundance of talent. Why can't we look around here and get that kind of a player? You are right. Why are you signing a player that is here? You can get it here in South Africa. Same skill, even better.
But we continue and we pursue that. And you look at international leagues and you look at one of the biggest marketable league in the world, which is the EPL. Their top goal scorer right now is not an Englishman. He's not somebody who will don the England jersey. If you look at the fourth top goal scorer, he's a guy from Egypt. Plays for Liverpool. And at Arsenal, there's a guy known as Odegaard, who's from Norway. So I'm just sampling a couple of names. Yeah, obviously in between there'll be an Ivan Toney, there'll be Harry Kane, who was slotted in there. But a lot of the other names, your Martinellis, they from other parts of the world, at Fulham, Mitrovic as well comes through. So they're proving outside of their countries that they can shine in the biggest league in the world commercially, which is the EPL. We seem to not understand that when we bring in the so-called foreign players.
It goes back again, Rob, to the influence of the agents. They're trying to convince you that this is the player that you want.
But there must be something then. You can't just be convinced by words. So there must also clearly be convincing by money.
Well, that's another part. That's the other part of it, because it's money involved. But if I am a person that is working for the team, I will definitely put my foot down, and my stance should be known that I'm not going to entertain signing any player that isn't better than the local players. Why can't we improve the local player? Because that player that we improve can represent the country. Bafana Bafana. As we say, there is a lack of strikers in South Africa, midfielders and all that. I don't think so. We are not prepared to go out there and watch the games. Not only the ones that are on TV, the ones that are first division. You need to go down there to the ruralest of areas to go and look for this talent, because the talent is there.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa. Ukhuluma noSibongelene wamkhwani kaMgaya Matafeni. And good evening to Ubaba Fani Madida, Mr. Marawa. I think there you got a true legend, someone who was hitting the net like nobody's business. Mr. Marawa, just a quick one to our legend. Ngicela ukubuza Mr. Marawa kuBaba Madida ukuthi uyasibona yini isidingo sabaqeqeshi laba babagadli eNingizimu Afrika. Siyabona abafana ababagadli abayishayi net njengabo, bayageja labafana bamanje, Mr. Marawa. I will make a typical example about a player who is at Chiefs. Taking nothing away from him, Ashley Dupree, he's a good player, hard-running youngster. But when it comes to missing opportunities, I think he needs guidance in that aspect. Someone will teach him how to hit the back of the net. Does he see any need to get a striker coach? Thank you, Mr. Marawa. Good show.
Smogeleni, thank you so much indeed. Oh, Ashley's got the speed, he's got everything.
My favorite player. He's one of my favorite players. When he was at Stellies,
oh yes,
I would like say, wow, if I can coach this player, if he can play for my team, definitely he's deadly. I will finish the teams. You will remember that he wasn't missing the chances like he's missing, but it goes with confidence. And also how to get into the area where you're going to receive the ball. The telepathic movement that you have talked about, so that you create a space. You look at Haaland, how he creates a space for himself. You know, he puts the defenders on the other side and the ball on the other side, and then he's gone. With Dupree, with his speed, my goodness, he is so deadly. He just needs to get that confidence and be coached how to score, because Chiefs is a different team, of course, as compared to Stellies. But I still believe in Dupree. He's a good striker.
Crazy player. I would love one day to be as complete as you say he is. You're talking about players that have come from across the border. Undoubtedly, one of the players that needed to share a beautiful tribute to you. It's just that I think he's also got, attributes of being a pastor. So he likes to preach. So his tribute to you was like a church sermon that we had to chop down, but I have all the love and respect for him. Hey, because you know what? He's one of my favorite human beings on Mother Earth.
Hey, Mr. Marawa. Good afternoon and good evening. I'm not sure what to say, but let me tell you, you're sitting with a legend that is worthy of the platform that you've afforded him. And there's a lot I can say about this young man. Ngikhuluma ngoMadida, isidididi uqobo lwaso uMadida. Yes, he arrived in 1987 when he just completed school. In fact, I think he still doubled up with a bit of schooling even when he arrived in Joburg from Newcastle. But he arrives at a time when Chiefs had some of the top strikers in the country. Ngikhuluma ngoScar Tintwa, ngoMax Maponyane, O'Shane McGreco. These are noticeable strikers, but 87 O'Shane bekangakefiki. And they're very difficult to make a break for yourself. But his opportunity came obviously at the most difficult time of the club when they were in the semi-final of the Mainstay Cup. Pirates are leading. I've just considered a goal that didn't feel too good about. You know, when you concede, there are goals that you concede as a keeper, you think to yourself, oh, surely not this one. And people remember those type of goals. So I needed something that will help wipe that image, because if you end up losing when you've considered a bad goal, that stays in people's minds for the rest of they remind you of that goal. And it just so happened that we were playing our best game and yet we're not scoring goals against Pirates. And late in the second half, Ted Dumitru makes the biggest mistake, which obviously was proven to be an ace up his sleeves. Nobody knew about Fani Madida. And guess who does the substitute? You should have heard the roar of the crowd in disapproval as Fani Madida stood up. And when the board went up, that who's coming up is number 12. And you know who wore that jersey. It was obviously, may soul rest in peace, Ace Tulengo. And the only number 12 that still people remember today other than Ace Kuse. But you should have heard the commotion that went around the stadium. We are losing on top of that. For me, believe it or not, at halftime I went to Ace. Ngithi Emrito, besimbiza ngomrito. Ngithi Emrito lalela awenza izinto zakho. Uyazi nakubheda uAce beka yenza igoli. Whether through dribbling past or combination or even creating a penalty, he was very convincing. And now uThethu usekeeper, the very person who I was banking on, and we're still trailing at that stage. Robert, I am telling you, I looked at the time. I think it was the 88th minute. And it was still 1-0 in favor of Orlando Pirates. And then Philemon Muhanula picks up the ball from the right hand side and starts coming with his overlapping run. And when he gets wide, he pings a beautiful cross. And guess who pops up the other end on the far post? It's Fani Madida, who comes flying with a header. So when they call that man Umsindisi, I was one of those that is saved that day.
Oh man, the man they nicknamed Juicy Lips. William Shong, thank you so much. Whew, I mean, what a description. I mean, we touched on this last week, but when you hear it from a fellow teammate of yours, it just sounds so much nicer.
So beautiful, so beautiful. Pastor. Definitely, that's true what you're saying. I was an unknown player at the time.
Skinny.
And like you said last week, replacing Ace Nsolengo. So. But thanks to God and the cross from Phil Mahanelwa, I scored a beautiful goal. And there you go. Today you know me as Fani Madida. Yeah.
Umsindisi. So that's part one. I don't even think I'll get to the second part of William's preaching situation that he had to put up, because there's so many other tributes that have been lined up. So that day, William Shonga, because I know with age, you tend to forget here and there a few things. That was the 8th of November, 1987. Hey, that is a long time ago.
Jesus.
That's Fani Madida scoring his first professional goal against Orlando Pirates in the Mainstay Cup.
Marawa Sports Worldwide Live.
In 3, 2, 1.
On 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live. #MSW.
Whether you own lightweight or heavy-duty machinery or vehicles, MyWay Business Insurance offers a wide range of products to protect the business you've worked so hard to build. Our business insurance includes comprehensive cover for your commercial vehicles, your business property, and more. And with us, you only pay for what you need. For a quote, visit myway.co.za or call us on 0860 64 64 64. MyWay is a licensed non-life insurance FSP. Standard rates and T's and C's apply.
Up the ante and place your bets on Lotto Star's live poker tables. Your decision could be life-changing. You could win instant payouts of over 5 million rand by placing a bet on the popular Ultimate Texas Hold'em, Teen Putty, Casino Hold'em, Side Bet City, Two-Hand Hold'em, and so many more. May the best poker hand win. Lotto Star, your world of live games. Lotto Star is licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18s. National Responsible Gambling Program. 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
The time has come to buy a car. You're shopping, browsing near and far. You're looking for a new ride, but the right one hasn't come. You saw some on the internet, but found We Buy Cars instead. Cars, buckies, bikes and more. We Buy Cars has got them all. We have what you desire. Just come to us, we are the ones to trust. We have what you desire. Come to We Buy Cars, we're the best by far. WeBuyCars.co.za, the best way to buy a car by far.
At Pick n Pay, you could win your shopping free. Plus, get Nescafe Gold Instant Cappuccino 10s for only 59 Rand 99 each when you swipe. And 120 gram Simba potato chips, get any 3 for only 42 Rand when you swipe. Don't miss out on your chance to win. Only at Pick n Pay. Valid 8 to 19 May while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
For almost a century, Robertson's has been famous for flavor. Now it's your turn. Are you known for your flavors? Can you make an ordinary dish extraordinary with Robertson's spices? Then we want to make you famous for your flavor. We've already made 3 home cooks famous. You could be next. Go to whatsfordinner.co.za, follow the steps on the Robertson's tab, and you could win. You and Robertson's, famous for flavor.
947 Music.
Get all the data you need to do the things you love with this red hot deal from Vodacom. Get a massive 250 gigs on a SIM-only data plan for only 249 Rand per month over 24 months and save 1,200 Rand. Plus, add only 50 Rand per month and you'll get a home router to keep you connected. Miss it, miss out. T's and C's apply. Further together. Vodacom.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
But nonetheless, well, the curtain closes on the 2022-23 Premiership campaign this weekend. And as per known, the season's top performers should be rewarded. What a season that all had. Let's break all the nominations and categories down with the coach, Kevin Johnson, who's here. Also another retired workhorse, James Mainga. Football of the season. What have you made of the three nominees? Teboho Mokoena, Monapula Saleng, Ronwen Williams. Should there be any other name included in that list?
You could have done a little bit better with the Mendieta.
Yes, Stellenbosch.
Yeah, in one moment when you call footballer of the season, it's a big category.
Yeah.
Rob. The way he's fitted in, I think it has to be Teboho.
So we've heard Kevin being honest. So who do you give it to?
I'll give it to the goalkeeper.
Ronwen Williams.
Yes. Because of stats, 18 clean sheets out of 26, only conceding 10.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Lishonile Braropo, Bafana Madida lapho nebalaleli shareholders we-MSW. Into lengingakutshela ukuthi ngimkhumbula ngayo Fani Madida ngimkhumbula kuleya team ye-Giant Blackpool yabo Hellboy Masango, bo Gavin Lane, bo the late Shuzim Mshu, may his soul rest in peace, and the others. Lebafika ka-NFD kusase First National Division usengabi PSL. Bawashaya wonke lama team lamakhulu. Bacala bashaya le sahleka laba, bashaya laba sahleka laba waphubisa wonke oyi4 Moroka Swallows, Kaizer Chiefs, Pirates neSundowns konke bangashiyi lutho up until boba bekhoza nabo Kaizer Mtaunga bathatha some of the players, then yafa kanjalo Giant Blackpool. Ngiyabonga kakhulu Petros.
Petros, thank you so much indeed. The good old days of Giant Blackpool. Whew. We touched on it last week.
Yeah.
I gotta say that I might not have much for you to say except to listen. Pule Jackal says Fani was super fit. He had so much energy. He would be running on the left side, the next on the right side. And when you would see him running through a cluster of defenders down the middle, you knew how to hit the ball accurately. And his shots were mostly on target. Nkwalo Mkhulu says, I agree with Fani Madida. As long as football scouts don't go to deep rural areas, our football won't develop or progress to the dizzy heights of success. Rams Mabote says that, you know what, Bob? Historically, number 9s are known as strong and robust players, probably a requirement to project themselves from rogue defenders. Says not funny, though. Although the affable and calm gentleman on and off the pitch, I have huge admiration for him. That's from Rams Mabote. Maybe you want to quickly respond.
I feel very honored, Rob, with those accolades. I didn't know that a guy like Rams, they watch football. I didn't know that. And my first man that talked about development of football in South Africa, thanks to the new minister, Zizugodwa, he's talking about going to rural and farm school, a program, so that we unearth this talent. I will be going to Mpumalanga. I saw some beautiful players there. Had a program running with 12 school teams, selected 24 players. So I have to give them a camp and see and try to give them a platform. Play against the likes of TS Galaxy, Chiefs, Supersport, and all that. So there is talent in South Africa.
Just remind me, there was another famous guy. You guys were all famous during those days with your funny hairstyles and perms and all sorts of things. But he used to wear jersey number 15. What was his name?
That was Theophilus Dr. Kumalo.
Hi, Robert. Good afternoon, if not good evening. Wow, that gentleman sitting next to you, I would say one of the best strikers ever being produced in South Africa. and one of the best strikers in Africa, if not the whole world. You know, when you talk Fani Madida, you talk about a player that was dedicated to deliver, a player that was dedicated to make sure that he put smiles on all Kaizer Chiefs loving supporters. Yeah, I must say that I have actually enjoyed playing alongside Didiza because he made my job easier. Mine was just to eliminate the defenders in order for him to be able to finish. And there's nothing good if you, as a dribble wizard or somebody that dribbles past opponents and give a cross or a pass and the striker finish very well. So Fani used to be that kind of a striker that actually used to make my moves or my passes look good because his finishing was unbelievable. But I must say that he's also one of the strikers that used to be a lifesaver because he would score a goal in a critical phase whereby supporters have gone out of the stadium thinking that Kaizer Chiefs has lost. And I remember vividly because when we played Pirates, Tebogo scored and Fani Madida, last minute, he equalized. I hope and wish that he remembers that game. But Fani, thank you very much, my brother, for embracing everything that we used to do on the field and off the field, for your guidance, encouraging me. And today I'm looking at you, I'm looking at our generation, and I'm very proud today to be paying a tribute to you because I know very well what kind of a person you are. You made things look easier, you know, on the field. But off the field, as humble as you are, I would like to wish you to continue to be the way you are humble, you know, and may God bless you. And I just want to say to you, I hope you understand what I'm saying. And we call this one. Yeah. Sharp, all the best, boy.
Zwanza, what? That's the legendary Dr. Kumalo.
Yeah.
Jersey number 15. Thank you so much, Mtomdala. What was that last part?
Wow, it's a vendor. Zwanza Bahloti. There was a guy who was called Jaws. Ramakabule at Chiefs.
Yeah.
You know, those that are doing the special ones. So he was forever making us to laugh. And with Doctor always naughty. Very, very naughty. So he was giving Brajos always a hard time. I mean, thank you so much to him, Dr. Eskuse, because they made me to be who I am today. Without them, I wouldn't have scored those goals. If you remember, I said last week, the only thing that as a striker that I used to do was to stay there and wait for the ball and just score goals. That's all. So thanks to the guys like the naughty Dr. Kumalo, because Doctor will dribble you and laugh at you. And we are playing a game, It's a serious game. That's Doctor for you.
One of the first players who went to overseas, Fani Madida. Hi, Robert, and the listener. My salute and my greeting to you, Fani Madida. You are the first players almost in South Africa who left and sacrificed overseas, Besiktas in Turkey. I will coach you in Kaizer Chiefs. I know when you was in Blackpool, I bring back to Kaizer Chiefs because you was in loan. To talk about you, we need hours, because too many important moments we have together with my family and the respect we have for you and the great player who was. I think the first player who had the speed and the sprinting in South African football was you. And I remember very clear when I took over Bafana Bafana and we need to play in Nigeria. And the way I need to sacrifice you to play in the side to stop one of the players more important in Nigeria. And we were very unlucky to draw this game because we had controlled Nigeria almost the whole game. And Sean Donnelly, the striker, and Dr. Kumalo, closer, scoring the goal. But what I can say, when you arrived to Besiktas in Turkey, the crowd, it was with you. It was the first moment I see South African players was popular, it was commitment, it was the first one to put the flag in overseas, who is not easy. People think it's easy. But I salute today because you continue in sport, you continue in soccer. The last time you was in Swallows to help him. And obvious and chief, you did the great job, always. And this I say to you, is very, very few players who have the speed and the ability with you. Hope God can continue to give a lot of blessings. Fani, my family greeting you. I greeting you. And I hope this recognition will give to you today, Robert. He will be more and more. Because people forget about who was the Foundation International for South Africa when we admit FIFA in 1992. From where all these players had the opportunity to go to overseas. It is because of your talent. And your coach who no more with us, Bobby Ronson, he was one of the coaches who coached you, or one of the best English coaches who coached you in Besiktas. I watching you personal and training. I was with you in Istanbul, and this means I had 3 great moments with you. 1 in Casa Chief, 2 in Bafana Bafana, and 3 in Turkey, in Besiktas. I salute to you. Take your experience and your knowledge to the young player. Take the experience, your knowledge of the people or the player who one day want to play in overseas. Talk your story about what difficult, what sacrifice, and the language who you need to learn in Turkey.
Augusta Palacios, the difficulty of language in Turkey. That is something that a lot of people don't appreciate, is the sacrifices outside of football that you've had to make. Augusta Palacios, thank you so much indeed. I might not give Fani a chance to directly respond to that. I just wanted to ask you very briefly, maybe in 2 seconds, what made you and Shane McGregor click and work as a unit?
Well, I think we use our strengths.
Yeah.
Shane was much more of a player who could hold the ball and play to me. I was much more of a direct player, coming with speed and also finishing, and also having a good eye for a pass.
Yeah,
I was a good passer of the ball. So those elements, I think they made us to be deadly. And to add on it, we are both born in December.
Oh.
He's born on the 5th, I'm born on the 7th of December. So
5th and the 7th of December.
Definitely.
Same year, 1966.
I was born 1945.
No, man.
1947.
There's no such. 1966.
1966.
When England lost one World Cup.
Oh yeah, they won the World Cup, by the way. Wow, Rob, you are so sharp. Eh?
I'm just saying. But I know both of you now are safely into your Sasa grants.
I'm 2 years younger, by the way.
Shane McGregor.
How's it, Robert? How are you, man?
I'm fine. All the secrets are being spilled here in studio. Are you good?
Yeah, very good, thanks. I'm glad you got Mr. Goals in there, one of the best players we've ever seen in this country, strikers in this country. And I was listening earlier, he's very modest about his goals and the way he played and what a gentleman he is. But, if Fani all would agree with me, there's one thing that the kids nowadays don't do, and that's hard work. And that's what gets you the goals.
Is that the secret, though? Because it's always difficult, again, Shane, trying to figure it out. So many years later, like we'll always be talking about 1996 and how great they were, won Africa Cup of Nations, and then after that, full stop. We got nothing else to say about achievement. And when we talk about one of the greatest duos ever in South African football history at club level, it is Shane McGregor, Fani Madida. How and why do you think? What was it? What was the secret, briefly, Shane?
I think it was the will to win, and wanting to succeed and improve our games. And I think as Fani, as I said, he was modest earlier. He used to work hard, and people don't realize that. He used to work off the ball, I worked off the ball. And we both knew what runs to make, but that was from the hard work in training. And you mentioned that, earlier on. If you don't put it in training, you're not going to get it in the games. And that's the biggest problem I feel in this country at the moment is, the players are spoiled now. They get big money, they go home, and they haven't got the fight. They haven't got the will to win games. And, you've got to work hard. At anything you do, Robert, you've got to work hard. If you don't work hard at it, you're not going to succeed. And that's one thing that Fani did. He worked hard, a very, very good player, and very quiet man. But he put himself about a bit as well, and he could sniff a goal from anywhere. And that's one thing about the game today. You got to be working a little bit harder than what the next player is.
You guys disappearing. I mean, I see Arteta, I see John Terry, I see Frank Lampard, I see Steve Gerrard. They all become quite prominent. I mean, the level of success is debatable in terms of them. But what happens to the likes of Fani, the likes of Shane afterwards? Or is there no real interest, Shane, would you say, for life after that and coaching?
Yeah, you look at it. I mean, I've been pushing myself, and I know Fani was involved at Swallows at one stage. The clubs in this country are missing a big thing here with strikers coach. I know one of your guests earlier on was talking about a striker coach. If you look at the league at the moment, there's no goals. I mean, the one season, I think Fani and I scored 54 goals between us. You don't even get clubs that are scoring 54 goals in a year now. So, strikers coaches are needed in this country and needed badly. And I think a lot of the clubs are missing out on that. And I'm sure Fani will agree with that.
Yeah. No, you were saying about Dupree, how much you would love to work with him and maybe convert him to some degree to something. Shane, I think maybe one of these days we bring the Brains Trust, the both of you, maybe add an additional other striker, because I think we are lacking. And a great debate around that for me sounds like the thing to do. But have yourself a great weekend, man, Shane. Always good to speak to you.
Yeah, good, man. And just to Fani, what a gentleman, what a great man he is, and one of the best strikers I've ever seen. So, yeah, all the best, Fani.
Thanks, Shane.
Wow. I mean, what a tribute.
Wow.
Fani Madida, the next thing we can possibly do with you and for you is possibly not humanly possible on radio. Is to talk to the gentlemen and the ladies at Netflix to put together a documentary about your life. It's amazing. You're a gentleman. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Rob. That's a cool idea.
Marawa Sports Worldwide Live.
In 3, 2, 1.
On 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live.